Hello everyone, it's Maha, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Magic of Flowers Oracle deck by Tess Whitehurst and illustrated by Wertheim. So this is a Llewellyn deck. This is the box. As you can see, it's a cardboard box that opens up like that, flips up, and it comes with a 264-page, really cute guidebook and 44 cards. We're going to take a look at the guidebook in a moment. So the cards are the size of the cards is like the standard Rider-Waite-Smith tarot cards, so that long rectangular shape, and this is the back of the cards. Really pretty. The cards shuffle really well. The cardstock quality is wonderful. It's really great. Nice thick cards. Amazing printing job. They're really bright colors, stunning cards. Very, very colorful. A pleasure to work with. I've been using them for daily draws, and these cards just have such positive energy. The book is written with a lot of love, and it's really beautifully written. There is, we're going to look at the book actually first, and then I'm going to show you most of the cards, not all of them, and do a little flip through. And the book, as you'll see, doesn't give you any descriptions of the flowers at all. It doesn't talk about the flowers. It's got its own language. So let's go ahead and look at the book first, and I'll talk to you more about the cards in a moment. All right, so let's look at the book. Beautiful companion book. Starts off beautifully with some intro images of the cards. A couple of paragraphs on the creators of the deck. I love this one here, the tulip card, which we'll look at later. Then you've got the table of contents, which lists all the flowers and the page numbers. Then we have the intro section, where she talks about her idea in making the Oracle deck, the magic of flowers, working with flower energies, how to prepare your deck for the reading, clearing your deck, dedicate, blessing your deck. Then she goes through how to do a 3-card reading, and she does that in nice detail. There are no spreads in the book. Then we go to the cards, and the book is 249 pages. The rest of the book is describing the flowers in alphabetical order. And you have some space for notes. So each flower is the image of the card. Nice images on the left-hand side. And you got the name of the flower. In this case, it's Agapanthus. And you have a message, a short message, the main message of the card. Here it's be impeccable. Then you've got keywords, and you have a paragraph or two about the card and about the message of the card, the meaning, some insights that she gives you. And sometimes she leads you on into meditations, and then at the end she gives you some suggestions, so things to think about, some messages and some ideas, mostly in the form of affirmations. And at the end she brings flower essence remedies into the affirmations. She builds that on here. So the only thing I was a little bit disappointed with at first, and only at first, was when I saw that there are images such as this one here for Agapanthus. And this is a good example, because you see a woman in the car. She's a central figure, and she's goddess-like, obviously Egyptian symbolism here. And I was very curious to know if there what there was and why this image, for example, was on this card. So she doesn't get into much detail at all about the symbolism of the cards. She doesn't describe the images, although that's not entirely true, because she sometimes does touch upon the image very briefly for some of the cards, depending on whether or not that is relevant to what message she's trying to convey. But in general, she doesn't describe the images, and I found that at first a little bit disappointing, because I don't know, for my mind, I have the tarot book mind that always wants to see all the symbolism, read about it in the tarot book, because in tarot books, usually they go into the symbolism in quite detail. And in this book, that's not the point of the book or the deck. And I realized that further when I worked with the deck, that that's not what this deck is at all about. In fact, the reason why there are animals and humans represented are more than anything only to represent the archetypal energy or the cosmic energy that is the spirit of the flower, the essence of the flower. More than anything, it is just more for connecting with the flower using human representations or animal representations in other cases. And you will see that more, it will make more sense to you when I show you the cards, because you will personally connect to each card, and you don't necessarily even need to use the book. The images speak for themselves, although the book is just, it's very beautifully written, it's very positive. She comes from a very loving place, and I found it nurturing. I found it helpful for days that I feel a little down, and great for meditation and contemplation, and also learning about flowers a little bit more, and seeing flowers deeply when you're going through your day, for example. I really love what she wrote about the water lily, for example. I connected with that a lot. There was a nice quote about it, and she did touch a little on the card imagery. Okay, so hopefully that helped. Let's go ahead and look at the cards now. All right, you guys, so let's have a look at these beautiful cards. The first one we've got right here is Crocus, and I love this card. It's so peaceful, and you see her contemplating by the gazebo on a really beautiful snowy evening. Tulip, one of my favorite cards. This one reminds me of the Three of Swords in the Tarot of the Hidden Realms. I love that card. I don't know why this one reminds me of it. It has that kind of nostalgic feeling. So I'm going to show you some of the cards I was talking about where there is that archetypal energy. So you'll also notice in these cards, the colors are just superb. They're so beautiful. Yeah, so this one, obviously, she's dressed in a Egyptian kind of goddess-like, attire where you get that archetypal energy of the flower resonating with the woman. So, oh, that was Agapanthus. I talked about this one in the book. And then Hydrangea. So she has the costuming of some kind of Indian goddess, perhaps. I love that rainbow coming from the center of her hand chakra and the light emanating around her. So gorgeous. It's just they did a really beautiful job with the colors. They're so vibrant. Iris, the rainbow there, goddess of the rainbow. And I love this one. It's really cute. Clover. Love the colors. And she's also kind of dressed in that Indian or Eastern costuming, sitting in the middle of that flower. The cards are lovely. I get such a positive vibe from them. Dahlia. And then some of the cards have this very mystical energy, like this one does. And so with the moon, the night, kind of intuitive. This one, Datura, it's got like the It reminds you of the psychic aspects of the flowers. In this case, the datura. Lilac, also that mystical feeling with lilac. I think I definitely resonate with this card when I think of the lilac, how it smells so intense, especially in the evening. And there we see her sixth chakra, the third eye, relating to that same energy. This one really reminds me of the High Priestess in tarot, Magnolia. She's sitting in the center of the circle of magnolia flowers all around her. Beautiful. And then you've got the cards with that kind of childlike energy, so symbolizing, representing children. This one is dandelion, which I feel is really appropriate. There's that kid blowing the dandelion in the field of dandelions. Reminds you of my childhood. Reminds me of my childhood. Pansy. That's a fairy, little fairy, childlike fairy, or child fairy. Cherry blossom. This one totally reminds me of one of my photos from when I was a child in Iran, because there's, in the spring, we get tons of cherry blossoms there, and they're all pink. And honestly, I have a picture exactly like that. Almost exactly like that. I was actually even going to show it to you guys because I'm wearing that pink dress. I'm standing facing this kind of scenery, this exact same scenery. Beautiful use of children in the images. Daisy, which is kind of appropriate too, because it's like a child angel. Goes with that innocence of Daisy to me. Neroli. And then you've got cards which represents the love aspect of flowers. Neroli is a fourth chakra flower, and I love the doves, how they call to me and give me that feeling of love. Tuberose, also, this one is really stunning. It's very elegant, very beautifully loving, how he's just planting a loving kiss on her forehead. Lavender. I'm going to show you a few of the cards that remind me of this. They represent female energies in different ways. So lavender. This one definitely reminds me just the landscape of the south of France, the fields of lavender, and then the French Alps in the background. I thought that was really perfect. Then you have the wisteria, which is showing you, representing a mermaid. That kind of mermaid energy, that bubble, the bubbles on the bottom, and then the wisteria kind of floating down. Wisteria has that, the shape of the flower itself has like that kind of like dangling, light, soft look to it. And actually the keywords for this card are soften your edges, and then the description is quite perfect. Snapdragon, a little different from the other one. The female wearing orange in a daylight, you know, with the sun. It reminds me of that kind of fun, playful aspect, stronger and a more energetic aspect of the female energy. And you have quite a good representation of different races, different ethnicities in this deck, which I like. This one's Impatience. I showed you this one already in my unboxing. I love bougainvillea flowers. And another example of different ethnicities. I love this one, how she's in the water coming out from the sea. And bougainvillea, this landscape really represents where the native, the origin of bougainvillea is in the Mediterranean area, with the sun, with the kind of humid weather. So that kind of, yeah, I think the research seems to be very appropriate for the artwork. Poppy. Now this one is a little interesting. To me, it really, just the way that she's relaxed in front of Poppy right away makes me think of opium. And maybe maybe it's because I'm from the Middle East and I'm very familiar with opium, but with poppy flowers being grown for opium in the Middle East. And, you know, it's known for that kind of relaxed quality it gives to people. I've never tried it myself, and I don't want to. Orchid. This one is really interesting too, very different from the rest of the cards. She's standing in the middle of a city, a busy city. It reminds me of like a scene from New York on a rainy fall day. And so they see the tall high rises and people just rustling through with their umbrellas, not looking anywhere, just running to get home quickly. And she's standing in the middle, just really vibrant, holding that orchid. And orchid to me is, as you probably also would agree, that orchid has this beautiful simplicity that a lot of people are attracted to. It's a very modern type of flower nowadays. You see it in, you know, weddings and design stores where people like that. It has that clean beauty, that clean look. So I think it's appropriate that she's a modern girl in a city holding an orchid. That's just what I think. And then you have a couple of cards, I wish there were more, of males representing flowers, so that male energy. So this one's yarrow and sunflower. This one's very appropriate. Really like this card. And then you have some cards that you just see the flower. So there's this rose one and the mandala image, which I really like because the mandala represents perfection and harmony, which is the symbolism of rose, especially in the East. And then water lily, another famous one in the East. This one is so beautiful. I love this card, and I love what she writes in the book. So if you guys stick around till the end of the video, I'm gonna read you a little bit of what she writes in the book about water lily because it's so beautifully written. Then you have some little animals. This one is hyacinth and the bee. Yeah, so that symbol of spring, new comings, new beginnings, the bee symbolizing that fertility, the beginnings, and fresh. There's a fresh feeling with this card. I can just smell the hyacinth. And honeysuckle with the hummingbird, how appropriate, beautiful card. Freesia, not my most favorite card, but I just thought it was neat. I love butterflies anyway. I love Freesias too. And Morning Glory, which is a really beautiful card. So yeah, it's generally, I would say these cards are so stunning color-wise, and hopefully my did some justice for you guys because, oops, yeah, because it's just really hard to find the right lighting, but alright, so I'm going to go ahead and read you something from the book for the water lily. So that was about a little more than 2/3 of the cards that I just showed you. So if you liked what you saw, you will like all the cards. Now I'm going to read you a little passage from the water lily, and you're looking at the water lily card. The keyword for water lily in this book is transmute. Khalil Gibran once wrote, "The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain." And the same is true for the dynamics of other polarities. For example, the more you experience something you don't want, the greater you understand what you do want. And consequently, the more empowered you are to manifest exactly the conditions that you desire. Similarly, our bitterest enemy is often the one who teaches us our most valuable lessons. Our past traumas are the portals into our deepest wisdom, and our greatest weakness might actually be revealed to be our greatest strength in disguise. What's more, it's important to think of everything in terms of energy. When you fight against the momentum of any energetic pattern, you may very well be fueling it with even greater energy. This dynamic is consciously employed in the invention called the slingshot, and it can also be observed in cases where an action is prohibited and therefore gets more out of control than it otherwise would have. On the other hand, when you flow with the energy of what you desire to change and then consciously shift its pattern into something else While retaining its natural momentum, your efforts are fueled rather than foiled. The water lily card on the card is grounded and in the murky depths and ascends through water and up into the air, where it radiates with beautiful sparkles and light. Similarly, draw strength from your root chakra, the energy center at the base of your spine, as well as your past experiences and your depth. Then consciously connect with the nourishing cosmic light and wisdom that bathes your crown chakra. Recognize and give thanks for the fact that you are a divine child and that, as such, a vast storehouse of universal wisdom and power is available to you now. From this place of connection to all that is, which includes full acceptance of all that has been and will be, follow your guidance to transmute the situation into its most divine and perfect form. Then she goes ahead and gives you some ideas on what to do in this case. So, and I skipped through a little bit of that, of course, so I don't read you the whole thing. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Take care. Blessed be.